Hello, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How are you all doing today? We are going to be continuing to work on the diesel course. And let's see. Last time we left off at the get one, right? And we did get one and we did debugging, if I remember correctly. And yes, we're not frozen on the window and we're not frozen on me. So that's a good sign, right? Yes. Okay. So we did printing the SQL for debugging. Get one from table with composite primary key. Okay. So this one might be interesting to do because no, I kind of mentioned I kind of mentioned it. So that might be good enough, but it might be good to just have an example. Do we have a composite primary key in this code? I don't think we do we? Do we want to like add in an example for that? So if we do like a DS, where am I? It's so pets. Primary key is just an ID. Oh, right. A primary key is just an ID for pets and just an ID for species. So we need to figure out something else like tags wouldn't make sense necessarily. I almost could imagine us just creating like a test one that just like something that doesn't necessarily make any sense. We can just say like, hey, this isn't like uh pet species, adopters, viewers, petters, employees. No, that I don't think that makes any sense. I don't know, like the creativity part of this of like coming up with something semi-realistic that also fits into a it would be like a join table, wouldn't it? So like what would I need join table between pets and species, or would I want something else? And I don't necessarily know unless it was like a comments type thing where we can have like a comment on a pet. That doesn't I don't think I like that either. So I think for right now, I'm probably gonna just leave this not here and just ignore it for now. And then we can come back and work like add that in later if it's necessary. We did mention it in the read one that there is a composite primary key sort of like a thing there that we can put in and find. So that leaves us create insert. That I believe that works. So let's should we do the code first? We should probably start writing first. So let's do new diesel insert. Okay, so inserting with diesel. Objectives. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, you will be able to what do we expect us to be able to do with inserting? I guess like just insert insert a row into the database with diesel. I mean that's pretty much that's it, right? Pretty simple. So let's do that. That's good enough, right? Okay, um, so far we've retrieved items from the database. but it's nice to be able to insert new ones too. Let's see. So in order to create a new pet, we'll need to create a struct. Yeah, okay, so we're going to need a struct just for inserting. Just for inserting into the database. We can't use the model struct. We can't use the same model struct that we've been using for what is the right word? We've been for the selects because it has an required ID. And in this case, since we're letting the database choose the new ID, we can't set it. Therefore, we're going to need to add a new model to the models file, specifically for inserting. Let's start just the data for data that we know we'll have for new pets. Okay, so I do feel that maybe I do want to do this because, let's see, for DS pets, for last fed, it is nullable, but we have no default. But I believe that we can just not, if we don't pass this in, it becomes null on its own, right? So I think all we have to do is put in the species ID and the name. I think that's all we need to do, but let's find out. And in fact, I have, that's create species, create pet. Yeah, name and species ID. That's what we have right here. So we've kind of already done this. And so then the next thing would be to go into the pets queries, and we'll create a pub function create pet. We'll take in the DB. So we'll take in the new name, which is a stir, and we'll take in the species ID, which is an I32. Turn a result. And this, okay, so most often we want to return the ID that's created, but sometimes you also return the entire object. So it's completely up to us. I'll just say an I32 for the ID. And that's going to be that. Okay, so what's the next thing we want to do? I want to create. So let's create the pet to insert. So the new pet equals create pet. We have our name, which is a name to owned. We have the species ID, and that's fine there. This is insertable, so I actually think I can just do new pet, insert into, it just needs the table, and we can do that with pet So I could either do pets table. That works because that's from the schema pets, I think. Then the other thing that I could do is I could also do pet table. That also works. Either of those work. Insert into that. I want returning. Right, and then this is going to be the name. Oh, we have to use the DSL stuff for this, I think. Is that true? Do I need the DSL stuff, or can I come from... don't think I can get this from here, so I can't get like the ID. No. I have to do pets. DSL ID. Okay, so return that. And then convert this into the right... oh, we have to run it. So there's only one thing. So first, end at the DB. Then handle the error context. So inserting new pet. And then that's what we're returning. The trait bound, what are you upset about? The trait bound insert statement, pets table, query builder insert statement, values clause, default column insert, inserted value. Okay, string. Wait, you're not happy about the table that I'm using? Is that what this is? Wait, species ID? Oh, wait. I'm going back and forth between like, do I know what the problem is or am I forgetting? Insert statement, private insert. Table is not satisfied. The following other types implement trait table. Pets table. Okay, so hold on. What? So debug insertable, table pets, name species. Okay, and then do I need last fed? So like pub last fed as an option. What did I do for time? It was like a naive date time. Okay, so if I do that, last fed becomes a none. That doesn't make you happier though. You don't need to be public, do you? You are public here. Insert statement pets table. I did say, okay, so do you not like this pets table? Because I could do pets table like that too. Is it not first? There's other, it's not execute. Get result. Oh, it's get result. Okay, so first is only on a select. So get result when we're going for it. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, so that makes you happy. Let's get rid of you. Yes, I don't believe that I actually need to have this last fed in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of you. You should be happy, which means we can go back to the runcy, the seeds I think we're going to do later. I don't remember. Let's see, models, queries, pets, queries. Okay, so, oh, then the bin. So, I'm gonna go to source bin. We're gonna attach create pets. I already have a create pets. Did we already start this one? Hold on. So there's diesel insert. That's the one I'm already on. There's no create. Yeah, that's the one we're working on right now. Maybe it was seeding. I don't know. Did I like just delete it previously? Because we already have a create pets, don't we? Or maybe we just started working on this, but then didn't actually. Oh, create pets has nothing in here. That's why. Okay. So in create pets, connecting to the database first. That's what we need to do. So we need we'll use our dot env. Okay, that. We'll let our database URL. Okay, so we get our database URL from the environment variable. We connect to the database. Okay, so we connect to the database. We have that connection. Now I need to print line and just say, what is the name of the pet you want to create? So new pet name is going to be a string new. And we're going to just what is it, standard in method read line new pet name expect error reading pet name from user. Okay, so we have that, and then I do want to trim that. So let's shadow new pet name. And we will new pet name, we will trim. There's I don't think there's any like special uppercase type stuff we want to do for this, so I think it's just a trim and two owned it. So back to a string. So that's all I'm really doing here is just trimming the line off that, and then we're going to do the exact same thing. So what is the species ID of the pet you want to create? Now we have a get all for species at this point in time. So we can also print out all of the species. And I think that might actually make some sense. We want to get all the species and then show them here at this point in time. So let's I think I can just do this all in one go, right? So like for for a species in get all species, hand it the DB. Can I just do that right there? I think I can. We get that. Okay, so oh, you return a result. So then I want you to be a context. Let's just expect you. Error getting all species. Okay, so at this point we can then print line and just say maybe like another print line here. So print line possible species to choose from. And so we will have maybe the ID of this. So species and then the name. So species ID, species name. Okay. So then we will let our new species ID. You're going to be a string new. Oh, that's 2 mistakes there. Okay, so species new, we do our standard in, fun, read line, mute, new species ID, expect error, getting species ID from user. And then we convert it. So let's just shadow that. So new species ID equals new species ID parse to an I32. And we'll expect you. Oh, this wouldn't be expect because I actually want this to be a good error message. So I'll match this. So match you. Okay, so if you're okay, you get the ID and you return that. If you're an error, get the error, which I don't actually really care about. So you can just be like that. And we want to say print line error. The species ID must be one a valid number. Uh-oh, that's possible ban evader. Yes, I agree with that. And banned. Okay. Let's see. Print line error, the species ID must be a valid number. And then we can just go ahead and return out of this because we are done. Okay, so that gives us our new species ID. So we have that. I can now create, oh, we can now, now that we have everything we need, we can pass everything in. And so we can do let created pet ID is equal to, we're going to do create pet. We have our DB. We have the new pet name. And we have the new species ID. We expect that this would be error creating new pet. And then we can print line pet. And then we can give it the name. So this would be the new pet name has been created with an ID of, and it's the created pet ID. And there we go. That would be the end of this. So we can now test this and make sure it works. So we could do a cargo run bin create pets. I probably want to rename that to create pet, don't I? Hold on. Let's do that really quickly. Move. Okay, so you're going to go source bin create pet.rs. Okay. You don't like that. Create pet does not have this field last fed. Oh, create pet queries. Yep, I don't need that there. Try it again. There we go. What is the name of the pet you want to create? So we already have a bunch of them. There's some other squirrels that like to hang out around sometimes. I've seen some mice, jump around the fences too. I don't want to use like my neighbor's dogs or anything else like that because, they haven't given me permission or anything like that. I used to have an old cat named Spot. I'll use Spot. He passed away a long time ago, but he was over 20 years old when he passed too. So he lived a nice, good life. So we'll do that. And possible species to choose from, cat. So we'll do that. Cat error, species ID must be a valid number. Oh, I forgot to trim. Okay, so in create pet, okay, so before we parse, we trim. And then that should work. So let's try this again. So Spot and cat. Pet Spot has been created with an ID of 5. Nice. Okay, excellent. So that's what we're about to create. So let's come back to here. So therefore, we're going to need to add a new model to the models file specifically for inserting. Let's start with just the data that we know we'll have for the new pets. And so this is going to be in the models.rs. So in models, we're going to have create pet. And we'll add this in. Okay. There. Note that we don't need to include anything that the database will handle by default. For example, the ID will be auto-generated. Okay, so for example, the ID will be auto-generated if we don't pass anything in, and the last fed field will default to null as long as we don't pass anything. So all we care about is the name and the species ID. Okay, so there we go. Before we can use this model though, we need to add some macros. Specifically, okay, so let's just add them in here like this. Okay. That one. That's fine. Okay, so the derive macro that we need is the insertable. go find it. Wait, was there API docs? Yeah. Insertable. Prelude derive macro. There it goes. Okay, so this is what we need. Okay, so the drive macro that we need is the insertable macro. This tells Diesel that this struct will be used for inserting new data into the database. Let's see. Since the name, the macro of the struct is will not be auto referenced, auto figured out, since Diesel. Since Diesel will not be able to automatically determine which table this the struct is meant for, we also need the table name helper. Now we're ready to create the query. We'll do this in the macro in the pets queries file. Okay, create pet. Taking the name. All right, so it's like a 1-2 punch type thing, but I don't want to say punch. I don't think that that's sort of a good idea here. So how do I want to word this? For this function, we're taking in the database connection and the data that we need to create the new pet. We could take in an instance of the create pet struct. That is a sort of design decision. Decision that that is more preference. In this case, we're taking in the data to create the pet. To create the pet struct inside the function. Then we create the pet struct and run the insert into method. Well, I wanted this search. Insert into. This one, I think. Although that doesn't give me much. Is there a better one? Yeah, this one has actual examples. That's good. Okay, so then we create the pet struct and run the insert into method on the instance, which will, well, insert, which will create the insert into SQL. SQL. I guess that's all I need. SQL. Oftentimes, we want to return the ID of the inserted item, so that the front end or whomever, whatever, or whatever is whatever. Come on, whatever is calling the API or the library can cache, I guess, like hash the ID for future use. We do this with or by chaining. We do this by chaining the returning figure like half the time my typing mistakes are because like I put my hand down and I don't feel the little ridge on J. I don't know why, because like it's solidly there, but I just sometimes just put my hand down on the wrong keys and then just start from there. Esitsu, hello, how are you doing today? Insert statement returning. Okay, so this one, yeah, specify what we're returning. Ooh, and they have some examples here too. Perfect. And I think this can be a vector, but can you also make it a tuple? No, wait, this only has one. Okay, let's do another one, and that way we can use an example here. So we can do this by chaining the returning method onto the insert method. We for the table, okay, for the returning value. So for the returning value, we pass in the field, which we get back from the pets DSL star module. If we wanted to return everything, we can either pass in the, okay, so I want to test. So can I pass in? So we have insert returning. Let's comment you out. Let's do a returning pet as select. That should get everything, right? And then I just need to tell you that you're going to be a pet. Yeah, you're going to be happy with that. And you're going to be upset until you still think that you're an I-32, which you are definitely not. So you haven't updated yet. So this becomes created pet ID. just create a pet ID dot. I mean, you just haven't updated yet. I can just do that. That'll be fine. Oh, sure. Okay, now it sees that it's a pet. So now if I run this, what is the name of the pet you want to create? This would be, what is the name of the pet you want to create? I'm running out of pet names. Let's see. What are other haven't had too many like, well, okay, so what are other cats that we had or dogs? We had another, I'm trying to remember their names. It was a long time ago. I don't want to turn you all into pets. That doesn't seem fair. So we'll just say, what are some common names? Jazzy. I don't know if that's the right spelling for it. That would be a dog. Yeah, okay, so we get this back. So that's perfect. So that's one different way of doing this. Okay, so if we want to turn everything, we can pass in the pet as select method into the dot returning method. It's actually okay, so we can pass in the pet result into the returning method, which will return the entire pet. Or if we just wanted a couple of items of fields, like the ID and name, we could pass in a, it's a reference to an array, right? So if I do, let's come back to here. So this would be a vec of i32 string, like that. Let's comment you out, and we'll do another dot returning. And this would be a reference to a vec of pets, DSL, ID, pets, DSL, name. Okay, I think that works, right? Oh, wait, no, it can't be this. Why did I see a vec before? It's a tuple. It's got to be a tuple. And then you're not, wait, come on, let me come up here. You are not that. You are a tuple that. Okay, now you're happy. And so if we run this again, definitely running out of, I should find like a sample pet name. We can do, it's like a llama. A llama named Llama. We don't have this here. Okay, a llama named dog, a dog named Llama. How about that? Yeah, okay, so then a tuple of this. That's perfect. That's what we wanted to see. Okay, so come on, stop. You do what I want, not what I'm telling you to do. Okay, so or if we just wanted a couple of fields like an ID, like the ID and name, we can pass in a tuple of of field names from the DSL, like that. Wait, nope, like that. No, that's not how you end sentences. Okay, so if we just wanted a couple of fields like the ID and name, we can pass in a tuple of field names from the DSL, like dot returning pets DSL ID, pets DSL name. Okay, excellent. And that gives us, okay, so so we're good to go there. What else? What else do we want? Okay, so I think that's it for, because we already had this entire thing. And I guess like in this case, we're going to stick with just returning the ID. Okay, next, we need to write the binary function to create the pet. So, do I have like the thing up here where I touched it? I don't think I do. Yeah, it's like show pets. Ooh, create pets. There we go. Okay. Just run that. Okay, so we touch create pets. Inside create pets, we're going to set up our boilerplate. Okay, so set up our boilerplate where we get the what is it? We're going to get the database. We're going to connect to the database where we connect to the database. Okay, so bin create pet. Let's go ahead and just copy all of you. And we're going to just delete the things that we don't use. So for example, we're going to just do the connect to the database. So connect to DB like that. So we've got you. Now, env and standard in. Okay, so we're not. So we're getting just standard env. Diesel course, connect to DB, but we haven't used any of the queries yet, which means like that. You're like that. Okay. There you go. Then it's time to get the name from the user for the new pet. Like before, I guess we'll print a message asking the user for a name and capture their input into a string. Into a string. Don't forget to trim it. Okay, so rs. All right, so then that's going to be right here. What is the name of the pet you want to create? And we do this. Okay, so now we have you. Whoa, nope. Here, forgot to press enter. Okay, so what is the name of the pet you want to create? New pet name, blah, blah, blah. We do all that stuff. And then we have the new pet name in there. Okay. Next, we want to get the species ID. However, this would require our user to know what the possible species IDs are. We can help them out by using the already existing. So by using the get all species query that we've already created. And we'll print out the choices for the user before asking which ID they want to use, capture it, and turn it into an I32. Okay, and that's all of this right here. Okay, so then we'll just come down like that. Okay, so what is the species idea, the pet you want to create? Possible species to choose from. We loop through this. So maybe just to make this a little bit nicer. Okay, so now we have everything we need to call our new create pet query. I guess it's create pet function. To call our new create pet function, let's call it get the ID back and print it out for the user. Okay, so we get that. Print you out. You and that's it for creating a new pet. We the output for this should look like okay. So I want to find maybe one that looks a little bit better. We use Spot, immortalize Spot in here. So we have our cargo run like that. Oop, that's too much. Pet Spot. Okay, so there you go. All right. Oh, did I get an error? It did. Oh, I added in too many things. Okay, so we have you. Cargo run. Weird. Huh. I missed that. So bin create pet. Okay, so bin create pet, compiling, finish, running. What is the name of the pet you want to create? Spot. What is the species ID of the pet you want to create? Possible species to choose from. 1, 2. Okay, so we do all that stuff. 1 pet spot has been created with an ID of 5. Okay, so there we go. So you. All right. Now, for your challenge, or I guess like a challenge for you. Let's see. 434. Hello. How are you doing today? Hi. If you don't mind to explain Rust drop method. Oh, like explain what the Rust drop method is. So the Rust drop method. So let's jump to. Let's take a look at models here. So the Rust drop method. Yeah. So normally, so this gets into a little bit of, what do we call it? Memory management type stuff. So if you're familiar with other languages, then every time that you want to get rid of something from memory, to get, to get rid of it, to drop it from memory, essentially. I guess that's why they call it drop, right? You need to call some kind of cleanup function or do that, and it's going to be different in different languages. Now, in a garbage collected language, you generally never do that yourself. You just clean up any of the references to it, and the garbage collector takes care of that on your own. In C or C++ or other non-garbage collected languages, you generally need to do this yourself, but sometimes for simple things you don't need to either. The drop method will not actually is not actually necessary to drop the struct. That's something that some people don't necessarily understand. So if I impl drop for create pet here, let's implement the missing members. It's just drop. I do have a mutable self here, but the idea for this is that this is a destructor method that happens sort of in a life cycle of this object. So it's per object. It's not, I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Like per instance that we create it, it's going to call this function here if that exists. So basically it kind of already automatically exists. That just does nothing that we're concerned with. If I want to do something when this instance goes out of scope, that's what this is for. That's all. So I can, the only thing, I've never had to do this myself because I've never needed anything to run on the drop that happens. Used at runtime. Yes. It runs at runtime. So for example, I could just say like a print line, the pet, let's do self.name is dropped and cleaning up from memory. So it is important to remember that this runs immediately before. Oh, is insertable not going to let me do this? Cannot move out of type create pet, which implements the drop trait. Oh, cannot move out of here. Move occurs because self.name has type string, which does not implement the copy trait. Oh, so I have to do clone copy myself? Cannot. Copy cannot be implemented for this type. Oh, because insertable. Okay, so insertable is doing some fun things behind the scenes because it's a macro. It's doing some cool stuff. So I can't actually show this as a demo for this specific type, unfortunately. That's Diesel doing some fun things. But no, that is, so 434, that's not how the drop method works. Well, you can call things to drop manually, like you can drop them, but it's way more effective to just use, what is it called? To just use a block, like appropriate scoping to drop things. So I can show that pretty easily. Let's see, in create pet, in the queries right here. So for example, I have this new pet. Let's say I wanted to create another new pet and I wanted to drop it right away instead of waiting for the end. So let's like my test pet equals, I wanted to create pet, and I can do name not real to owned, and species ID is 1, let's say. So by default, this is going to last until the very end of the function and then drop down here, right? So test pet will drop here. But what I could do is create just a block in here, throw this in here, and now test pet no longer drops here. Test pet now drops here. So that's the best way where you can, this is the best way where you can drop things. Imagine a shooter game where you want to drop bullets from memory. Do we though? I don't know. It's I don't know if that's the best example, because in a game like that, you actually don't want to drop it from memory. You want to recycle it, and you move the bullet like way off screen to somewhere that's not visible, so it doesn't render, so it's out of camera, and you mark it as reusable, and now the next thing can use it again, so it doesn't need to load things into and out of memory constantly. It's just always there. That's usually how that works. So in that case, you would be very careful to make sure it never drops, if that makes sense. Now, if I wanted to call like test pet like I can't call drop from this. So there is a way to like force something to drop with a method, and I can't remember if you can call drop. If you like implement drop, you can call drop on it that way. I've seen it before. I've never used it myself. I would prefer this method though, just because you can it feels to me like it's a little bit easier to sort of like read and say like, okay, everything created inside of this block is dropped. And so if I wanted something like let ID equals, and then I can return 5. This 5 stays in scope, and that won't drop, right? But the test ID will. So it's almost like you start doing memory management instead of through method calls. You do memory management through structure of the code, which I mean I like, but I've been doing Rust for a while now, so I've kind of gotten used to that type of thing. And of course, if you're used to something like Python or JavaScript or Java, you don't need to worry about that at all. And it's a completely different game, because you may be used to just like causing things to go away and do something else. So yeah, thanks for the great explanation. Thank you. I'm glad that helped. That being said, where was I? Let's see. Oh, we're just about to tell everybody to say, okay, now it's your turn. So, now, your turn. Create a query and new binary for creating a species. Okay, so we have that. Let's do this ourselves. So we're going to start with, in models, we have create species, we have the insertable, we have all this here. So all we need is the species queries, create a pub function, create species, and take in the DB. We're going to take in a name, result, and I only care about the I32 here. That'll be fine. I'm missing closing for you. Is that right? Full screen, no. Come on, over here. Full screen you. That's what I want. There we go. Okay, so create species. Okay, so we want to, I mean, I could even do this all in one go, but I really do like to put this all like sort of separately. So this is the, I mean, the species to create. So this is the create species. We're going to have just the name be the name to owned. We're going to now return species, insert into species table. Returning species DSL ID. Get result, pass the DB, and context, inserting species into the database. And that's it. Easy enough. We need a new binary. So what do we have? We have, oh, create species. We already have one. So, ooh, yeah, I already set up a bunch of stuff for this. Do I want to keep you or do I want to start over again? So we have database URL, our database connection. Oh yeah, we are like this one is, do this again. So that DB mute, connect to DB, database URL, expect error connecting to database. Okay. New name, get new species name. Oh, I actually created this entire function here, which I don't think we need to do. We could just do this in here. So this is delete. That mute new name equals string new. New. Okay. We want a standard in. Read line. Oop. Stop. Read line. Mute new name. Expect error getting new species name from user. And then I do need to shadow that. So let new name equals new name dot trim to owned. I'm constantly hitting outside of the enter key and like hitting other things today. That's not the best. Okay, new species. I do not need to create a new species like this. Like that's doing all the insert stuff. Who cares about that? We're just gonna say let the species ID is going to be create species, hand it the DB, hand it the new name. The new name we expect. This is error creating species. We have that. Create a new species. Or I kind of want this to be created species. This is new name with ID, species ID. Okay, there we go. So this should work. We have a bunch of warnings, so we don't need you. We don't need you or you or you. Okay, much simpler here. So we can now run this. So cargo run bin create species. That would be better if I put a print line in here to tell what the new name is. So print line, what is the name of the species you would like to create? Okay, let's try this again. What is the name of the species you would like to create? What should we do? We've already gotten a bunch in here. What am I missing? Table species. Okay, so we have cat, squirrel, dog, raccoon, red-tailed hawk, Oregon junco. Are there any other? We can do is like llama is a species, right? Or is that something else? I don't know. I'll just do llama as my test. Okay, that works. Human but pets. No, we're not going there. We're not going there. Okay, there we go with llama. I love that this is ID 39 because we've done so many deletes as part of our tests and other things. So that's great. Also, hello, Skimmus. How are you doing today? Okay, so I think we're good to go here. So there was no errors, no warnings. Let's get status. Okay, so all right, so we have created lessons for inserting into the database. I'll go ahead and push that up. Why not? And let's go ahead and read through this. Inserting with Diesel. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to insert a row into the database with Diesel. So far, we've retrieved items from the database, but it's nice to be able to insert new ones too. In order to create a new pet, we'll need to create a struct just for inserting into the database. We can't use the same model struct that we've been using for the selects because it has a required ID, ID field maybe. And in this case, since we're letting the database choose the new ID, we can't set it. Therefore, we're going to need to add a new model to the models file specifically for inserting. Let's start with just the data that we know we'll have for new pets. I can also imagine somebody like the trolley type thing is like, well, technically you can set the ID if you want to set it to be whatever you want. It's like, okay, you can, but you shouldn't if you're letting the database do it. If you're doing it yourself, go at it. Models that are asked. Okay, so pup struct, create pet. Okay, so that's that. Note that we don't need to include anything that the database will handle by default. For example, the ID will be auto-generated if we don't pass anything in, and the last fed field will default to null as long as we don't pass it anything. Probably pass in anything. So all we care about is the name and the species ID. Before we can use this model, though, we'll need to add some macros. So debug insertable. The derive macro that we need is the insertable macro. This tells Diesel that the struct will be used for inserting new data into the database. Since Diesel will not be able to automatically determine which table the struct is meant for, we also need the table name helper. Now we're ready to create the query. We'll do this in the pets queries file. Okay, so there we go with that. For this function, we're taking in the database connection and the data that we need to create the new pet. We could take in an instance of the create pet struct. That is a design decision that is more preference. In this case, we're taking in the data to create the pet struct inside the function. Then we create the pet struct and run the insert into method on the instance, which will create the insert into SQL. Oftentimes, we want to return the ID of the inserted item so that the front end, or whatever is calling the library, can cache the ID for future use. We do this by chaining the returning method onto the insert method. For the returning value, we pass in the field, we just get from the pets DSL module. If we wanted to return everything, we can pass in the pet as select into the returning method, which will return the entire pet. Or if we just wanted a couple of fields like the ID and name, we can pass in a tuple of field names from the DSL like .returning, pets DSL ID, pets DSL name. In this case, we're going to stick with just returning the ID. Next, we need to write the binary function to create the pet. Inside create pets, we're going to set up our boilerplate. Touch create pets. Also, I probably want to change this to be source bin, like that. Inside create pets RS, we're going to set up our boilerplate where we connect to the database. Then it's time to get the name from the user for the new pet. Like before, we'll print a message asking the user for a name and capture their input into a string. Don't forget to trim it. Next, we want to get the species ID. However, this would require our user to know what the possible species IDs are. We can help them out by using the getAllSpecies query that we've already created. Then we'll print out the choices for the user before asking which ID they want to use, capture it, and turn it into a F32. Okay, so there we get that. Now we have everything we need to call our new create pet function. So I think we can just say, now we have everything we need to create a pet. Let's call the create pet like that function, get the ID back, and print it out for the user. Created pet ID and print line. And then this actually doesn't need to be like that because it is just the ID. And IDs implement display. And that's it for creating a new pet. The output for this should look like now your turn. Create a query and new binary for creating a species. Okay, so there we go. So let's switch to you. We did create inserts. All right, so we completed create insert lesson. All right, over here, I also like to just close all the buffers whenever I'm done with them. Okay, update is next. As before, let's do our code example of like what we want update to look like. So I'm thinking update, we'll have an update. We don't have one for bin, and we can update by like setting feeding, like that we set the feeding time to be. That might be a good one, but we can also do an update name. We can do both too. That could work. Let's do the date thing because I think that's going to be more complicated. So if we attach like feed pet.rs, all the normal things. So set the database and that kind of stuff. So let oh no, it's .env. Okay. Oh my gosh. Type missing database URL environment variable. Environment variable. I'm trying to type too fast. Assisted too many distractions today. Uh-oh. Or maybe good. Like this week, especially if we're in the United States, is distraction week. Like it's a major holiday week. Most people end up taking Friday off as well. Well, Thursday is almost everybody takes Thursday off. There's some like restaurants open, but for the most part, it's just an empty town. So that's fun. So yeah, I totally get what you mean with that. I've been there myself. Okay, so we'll have our connect to DB, hand it that database URL. Okay. So we now have you. Then we want to okay, so if we want to feed a pet, we need to know which pet we're going to feed. So let's get that up, right? So we want print line, which pet would you like to feed? And we'll have to get all the pets and then we can loop through those. So we'll do a for pet in get all pets and the DB, and we'll expect error getting all pets. We want to print line. We'll put in the ID like that, and then the name probably. So we'll have pet.id, pet.name. Then we'll need to get the new naive date time. So that I guess we'll just do it like a now equals naive date time. Is there like a now? Can I do new? Oh, I have to pass it new date time. Isn't there something where I can figure out like just get what it is like right now? Like is there a now method? No, that's a diesel now. That doesn't seem right. Oh, UTC now? Oh, I forget that UTC is part of this. UTC now it gives me a night. Gives me a date time. There. UTC now, naive UTC. That gives us what we want. Okay, so now that we have that, I need to update, so we need our pets queries. So we can have I guess there's a bunch of different ways for us to do this. So I could do a query myself, which I think makes the most sense. So if I do like a feed pet, let's see. So we want this to be not atomic. We want this to be, what's the word for not atomic? There's a word for that, right? Where we're only inserting like specific things and not having to like give it everything. I forget what that's called. Do I want to do an atomic one? No, I probably don't. I probably just want to have like a mark, like a mark pet as fed query like this, like pub function update pet feed time. Because otherwise it will probably try to update. It will be an atomic update if I do everything else, and I need to pass in everything, which I don't want to do. So update pet last fed. We have a database. And I guess this will be the time. I probably don't want to call it, I could call it time. That's wait, there's a module time, isn't there? Let's not do time. Let's do just last fed. And then that will have to be a naive date time. And I'm okay with taking ownership of that. Return a result. And I don't need to care about that. So at this point, we just want, it's going to be sort of like the query builder type thing. So now I need to remember how to do that. I think it's, is this based on, do I start with pet? Pet, I think it's as SQL. Is there an update? I think it's pets. Pets. Table. Not for update. Where was it? I forget where it was. We did it not too long ago too. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but without having to look up the documentation. Scott, hello. How are you doing today? Starting Wrestling's over again. Your Hyperland configuration crashed. You changed to OpenSUSE with KDE Plasma. You figure to be getting really good at Wrestlings by now. It's only your 7th time now. Well, that's good. I call that pattern where when you're learning, you're just sort of like doing things over and over again. I've always called that build and burn, where you like build something up, then you just burn it down to the ground, and then you build it up again, and then we get really good. And as long as like it's helping you get to that learning point, and you're not doing it out of any kind of like fear of like doing something beyond it, then it's really good. That's a good pattern. Let's see. I don't think we have an update. Is there select? Okay, fine. We're gonna look it up. Okay, so what did they? I think they had an update in their quick start. Is this the quick start? Get started. Oh yeah, they have an update. Update. Insert into still. Oh, they do it off of Diesel because there's a Diesel update. That's what it was. Okay. I never remember the things off of Diesel itself because like you do Diesel update and then we have to tell it what we're updating by. So this is open, 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 close, close, close. That's everything, right? So we have to like which exact things that we're updating. So this will be pets. I don't do filter off of here, right? Like pets table filter. So table. Ooh, I think it's this one I want. Tables filter. No, that was wrong. That's what I want. Can I do dot filter? Ooh, I can't. Okay, filter our predicate? Isn't there a better one? Oh, wait. Does this return a predicate for us? Or I could then just do pets DSL ID as equal to, yeah, we're gonna need the pet ID. It's 932 equal to pet ID. Okay, so then we're gonna set, right? It's off of here. No code actions, it doesn't like that. That's closing like that. I mean, so far that's looking right. Yeah, close. Oh yeah, so then set name. Okay, so we're just not getting any help with this. So pets, DSL, last fed. I think you're two things, right? So then you're gonna be some, because that is last fed. That. And then we just execute, pass the DB, context, updating last fed for pet. Okay, what am I missing? Ooh, might not like that one. Multiple items in scope. Oh, right, I forget. This actually returns the number of rows that were changed. So if I do like an I32, is that what this is? Oh, it's a U size. U size. That would make this happy. But I can, if I want to keep it like this, we'll just let changed rows. But we're not going to use this. That becomes like that. Now, what are you upset about? This method takes one argument, but two arguments. Oh, am I supposed to use set again? Oh, I just do the equal thing. That's all it is. Okay, so last fed to equal to be some. Is there like a maybe equal? I don't remember anymore. Some and then last fed. So you should be happy with that. There we go. And then we are going to return. Okay, like that. And I actually don't need to bind this there. I can just do that with a semicolon. Unused result. Okay, so then context, question mark U. There we go. Now you're happy. Now we can update pet last fed. That is called cognitive conditioning in psychology. Oh, nice. I know that there's a lot of these things that are in psychology that have like official names for it, but I've never really learned the official names for them. A lot of these things I've learned from sports psychology books or sports like growth books, but they didn't necessarily use the right terms for it. Just more of like, here's how to use psychology in order to like make yourself better. Okay, so update pet last feed. Okay, so we do this. Now we can come back to our binary. So now we have our native date time, which means that we can run our, what did I call this? Update pet last feed. So update pet last feed, hand it the DB, hand it the now, and hand it the pet ID. Oh, which pet would you like to feed? Oh, I completely forgot to get the ID. Well, that's an issue. So let this will be new pet ID equals a. What language was I about to write? That wasn't the right link. That wasn't the right method. We're gonna do standard in. What? Import you. Read line. Okay, pet ID, expect getting pet ID from user. And then I need to convert this. So let pet ID equals pet ID. We're going to trim you. We're going to parse you. We're going to expect error. Pet ID must be a number. Okay, we get you, and then we use pet ID here, and that tells it what type it's going to need to be. And then we can expect you, error, updating last time pet was fed. Okay, so, and then finally we can do a print line and say, ooh, I don't have a pet name. So pet has been fed. Okay, so if we do that, now it should do a cargo run bin feed pet. Okay, so table pets. Okay, so right now none of the pets have been marked as fed. Let's go ahead and feed Zilby, because I mean I've been feeding him this entire time, so he's been fed many times. Now is probably not the right time, but it's close enough, right? So if I mark you, pet has been fed, and now Zilby has a accurate a time that he's been fed in. So perfect. Okay, there we go. So back to here. No, not back to there. Back to here. We're update. So there's. We'll do two things in here. So we'll do new write diesel update. So updating a row with diesel. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, you will be able to, and we're gonna break this up into two things. So update a single field in a row in the database. And then the other one that we're going to do is atomically update a row in the database. Okay. So let's add the ability to mark pets as being fed in the database. This will require us to add an update for pets. Okay, so this will require us to add an update for pets, but only for one of the fields. We don't want to force users to give us the same name for the pet again when feeding them, as that might lead to accidental name changes. How many people have run into that before? That would be a fun thing, right? Okay, so feeding them that might lead to accidental name changes. Let's start by creating the query in the pet query. I just forgot how to spell pet queries. That's cool. Pet queries with an E. Queries. File. All right. Complete brain malfunction there. Okay, so update last pet, and let's go ahead and take this away, and I'll just leave the OK in here for right now. And then so we'll go over this really quickly. So as normal, we'll need to take in the database connection, but we'll also need to know which pet is being updated, and in this case, when they were last fed. Okay, so that's good. Normally, when we, I guess like in it, we're returning this since we don't really care about. Okay, so we're returning that since we don't really care about the default return value from the database, which is the number of rows mutated. And we don't, and since the caller already knows all of the information, it's okay just to return blah and use that as a it's sort of like a communication that everything worked fine, right? Like as a way to show that everything worked as expected. This is a sort of like, this is a design choice. This is a design choice, and again, this is a design choice. You may you would want to consider what your library and users need when choosing what to return. Okay, I don't want anybody to like read this and go like, you have to return nothing at all, or you have to return the number of rows mutated. It's like sort of up to you, like what you need. Sometimes you want to like pretend that everything worked just fine and not let anybody know that you didn't find the IDs. Therefore, it's like 404. It's like, no, everything was fine. Totally updated that ID, which didn't exist. You know, there's lots of choices here. Okay, so given that, what did I do next? We just did this diesel update here. Right. Okay, so let's add UN. Okay, so let's add in the update, or okay, so next we need to add in the update query. We'll use the I guess like the query builder from Diesel. This might feel a bit odd if you're coming from ORMs in other languages, as we're not starting from the model, but rather Diesel itself. Okay. All right, so now we explain what we did in here. So I guess the update, let's go find that. So okay, so the update function takes in a filter. Okay, so the update function takes in a filter which itself takes in what we're filtering by. In this case, the ID of the pet. It technically is possible to ignore that, right? Like, can I just say filter with nothing? Like if I delete you, expect one argument. Oh, it wouldn't be a filter. It would just be pets to table. Okay, that's why. If you wanted to update all rows in the database, you would not call filter, but instead, I think just pass in the table, right? So just pets table, which is, there's two open, so that one. Yes. Okay. Keep on changing that one when I want to change this one. Tab, like which tab I want to change. Okay, so if you wanted to update all rows in the database, you would not call filter, but instead just pass in the table. Obviously, you want to be careful when writing these update functions. So these mutating functions, mutation queries, as it is very easy to accidentally update more than you want if you run more than we want if you forget the filter method. In a real project, it's extremely recommended to run to test your mutations on a local test database before deploying to production and letting it run against your prod database. Yeah, that has happened before. I've not made this mistake myself, but I've seen it happen, and it's like that's one of those like the stomach dropping feelings that you get, like when you finally realize, like, wait a second, did we just accidentally update and like corrupt our entire database because we forgot a where? Oops, that's not great. Okay, so in real projects, extremely recommended testing mutations on the local test database before deploying to production and letting it run against your prod database. Let's just do production database. Only a few more letters. Okay, so taking a filter, we call the execute. Let's go find that. Probably, well, there's a bunch of these different ones. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, execute returning the number of rows affected. That's good enough for us. Okay, so we were to call the execute method when we don't have anything specific from the database we want to get back. By default, execute returns the number of rows affected. In this case, we're just we're ignoring that that value and letting it drop. Okay, and finally, we need to handle the error, the potential error. And that's it. So now we can write our bin function to mark a pet as fed. Okay, so let's do same thing here. Do a touch. Not that source. Did I do a touch on the other one? So if I did, I can just steal that. I did, but I didn't really do it in bin, but I can, this is good enough. Okay, so this is in source, bin, feed pet, okay? Set up the boilerplate for the function, where we connect to the database. I think that's all we care about right away, right? Where we connect to the database. So pet queries, feed pet. Okay, so let's grab you. And we'll see what we want to delete. So we have .env, database connections, which pet you want to feed. Okay, so get all that stuff. What have we not used here? Okay, so standard env and standard in. Okay, we've not used standard in yet. So just env. We haven't used chrono yet. We haven't used the queries yet, so like that. There you go. Okay, so next we need to get the ID of the pet that we're feeding. Our user may not know may not have memorized the IDs for all the pets. So let's show them a list of pets and their IDs. Okay. So that is, which pet would you like to feed? Should you do both those yourself? No, let's just do one at a time. Okay, so then we need to get the pet ID from standard in and turn it into a number. Okay, just you. All right. What the heck was that? Hold on. Something just randomly started playing. I need to go stop. That was strange. My phone just started playing a YouTube video that I wasn't even listening to previously. I was almost as if like I pressed like play or something like that. But the phone itself, when I like looked at it, it was like, I'm not playing anything. Do you want to play it? Okay, that's weird. Feels like a bug. That's not great. Okay, so luckily I think that was far enough away that you couldn't hear it, but it was bothering me. So all right, so let's see. Pet ID, send it in, read in. Okay, so we get the pet ID, turn it into a number. All right, so then now we get to fun stuff. So now we're gonna get the now time. So it's time to create the now time, right? Trying to figure out like, can I turn this into a pun? It's like it's time to create a time. Time to create a time. Since we're using naive date time, we'll have to go find that, which We're using chrono, right? Chrono crate for this. I keep on forgetting you can go to documentation directly from there. So naive date time. I don't know which one I want to use. This is fine. Okay, so since we're using naive date time, we'll have to get there through UTC now. Okay, so that says now. Is there? Yeah, there's a new, but that's not the same thing as now. Why are you looking at? Okay, that's weird. Now I just want UTC now, like you. Now, and call the naive UTC. Okay, so now it gives me a datetime UTC, and then I want naive datetime. Where are you? Is like 2 naive datetime? Okay, I already forgot what method I called on it. It was, oh, naive UTC. That's what it was. This one. And call the naive UTC method on it to convert it into the type that we want. Okay, all of that explanation just for this one line right here. But we're not really like this isn't this entire like course isn't about like how to use chrono or how to do time. It's just like, okay, we're just something simple and easy. We're just throwing that into there. Okay. We now have everything that we need to call the update. Okay, again, wrong one. The update last pet function. So the update last pet, last feed function. So let's do it. I guess like and let the user know that their pet has been fed. Okay. Nope, not there. Nope. I'm putting wrong keys. That key. There we want. Apparently I'm getting tired. Okay, there we go. Update, pet last feed, and pet has been fed. Okay, so perfect. Great. Now we can run this and see our and update the last fed field for a pet of our choice. So shell. Okay, so we have Which pet would you like to feed? So this one right here. I'll have to get rid of the warnings because I didn't need that. I think I got rid of them afterwards, right? Okay, so okay, so cargo run bin, feed pet, warning, warning. Finish, running. Which pet would you like to feed? We put in 1. Oh. Did I not run this afterwards? Hold on. Now I'm confused. Did we not? Pet has been fed. Okay, hold on. Let's run this again. What am I doing? Over here. There. All right. So also, let's get rid of these warnings. So I need you. Review. Pet ID. Why are you saying you're not fed when you're used right here? Okay. That's why you are being used. It was unsaved. That's what it was. You tried this new anime shooter, Strinova. Seems fun. Oh, where is it? Is that a Steam game or? I'm not very good at shooters, but I'm happy to play around and try them out. Also, is that like a team-based shooter? I don't do very many team-based games because I don't like playing just with random strangers online. It's just like too what is it called? Too stressful for me. And I don't have enough friends to go and like play these games with. So I usually only just play solo games by myself. What is this called? Strinova. Oh yeah, it's a free game too. Anime styled third person tactical competitive shooter. Switch between 3-dimensional and 2-dimensional forms in this one-of-a-kind game that offers a unique tactical shooter system for unparalleled experience. Oh, that's interesting. So it does sound like they're adding some new like mechanics into the mix, which is nice. 5v5 mostly, also 7v7 and 3v3 5 teams. Like 5 teams of that? Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's almost like mixing old school like style of how it used to be and like the new stuff. So that's fun. I'll check that out. It's one of those things where like I do wish that I had more people to play those games with though. You can dodge bullets in 2D mode. Oh, nice. Okay, back to this. That should be good. Let's go ahead and actually run this again. So car run Fitet. Okay, so we're going to run with Zilby. Pet has been fed. Okay, so that's good. Let's do this. And redo you. Okay, feed pet. Do you. Let's just put you up at the top like that to make it a little bit easier. Pet has been fed. Okay, there we go. And then also let's just show what this looks like in the database. So if we come down here, we can do table pets and see this being updated. Okay. Last fed is you. Okay, perfect. All right, so that's good for you. let's see, what would be the next thing? So atomic updates. It's more like a 3, right? So atomic updates. Let's see. Sometimes we want to update. Well, actually, you know what? I don't actually know if we want to do something like this. So because this is everything you need to now do this yourself. So I kind of want to just do like challenge. Maybe not challenge, maybe it's like the same thing. So like, okay. Before continuing on, practice updating by creating. See, what would we call this? Practice updating by creating queries and binary functions or bin functions for updating the names of pets. Okay, we'll just do that. I won't necessarily say like, hey, you have to also update like, you know, which the pet ID, although that's perfectly fine too. Like that would absolutely work. But okay, so creating updating the names of pets. So before continuing on, practice updating pets and species. Okay, and then that's it. Lisa Jean, hello. How are you doing today? So then I'm just going to ignore that because, I mean, in reality, we rarely do like true atomic updates because oftentimes you don't want them to update the ID. They can update their ID. They can't update like other things. You hope I'm doing well? I'm doing pretty well. Car's in the shop, but everything should be fine pretty soon. And you know, weather's getting cold, but hey, it's still good. It's Thanksgiving week. Good food this week, right? Okay, so we've got you. Let's go ahead and update these and create these functions ourselves really quickly. So this is gonna be the name for species and pets. That's what we care about. So let's do that now. So pets queries, let's add you. Function update update pet. Now, what if I wanted to try a more generic one? This would be interesting, but I don't think it's quite as simple. Like, I think we'll just do update pet name and do that. Let's see. Do I have a Discord account? If so, could you share your username? You'll send a request right away. We have a Discord community that you could join, but I don't really like mark friends with anybody on Discord. Like I have to know them in real life. That's pretty much the only time I ever do that. But you can use the Discord command to join in, and if you're on YouTube, I have the links to join Discord in the description. Okay, so update pet name. So we'll take in the DB and the new name, which is going to be a stir. And the ID, because can't forget the ID. I have a result. Where's that? We're going to just do a diesel update. This is going to be a pets DSL. Oh, what wasn't it like table? So pets table filter pets DSL, no, ID is equal to ID. We're going to set the pet's DSL name is equal. Oh, is it that name is equal to the new name, which I think you're okay with that. We'll execute DB context updating pet name and return okay like that. So then you should be fine with that. And then we need to do binary. So let's do touch update pet name. Okay, build and burn time for this. So function main. No return. .env. .env. Okay. Okay, expect get error missing database URL environment variable. Okay, so we've got that. We have our DB equals connect to DB, DB. Okay, error connecting to database. So once we have that, we want to get which pet name would you like to change? So we'll do a print line. Which pet name would you like to change? We'll do our for pet in get all pets and DB expect error getting all pets. We'll do print line and we'll have the ID and then the name. So pet.id, pet.name. Okay, so then we get the pet, so that mute. This is going to be the ID. So that is string new. Standard in. Read line. Error reading. Let's see. I guess, okay, so this is error reading ID from user, but that's not necessarily where it can go bad. This is where it can go bad. So we want our ID equals, we're going to match on id.trim parse, and then it will automatically figure out what this is supposed to be soon. So we'll have an okay ID, and we just pass this through an error with an error, which I don't actually care because we know what this error is. And this is going to be an ePrint line. Error converting. Okay, so actually it just be error, the ID must be a number, and we'll just return. I mean, I could crash there too. I could panic, but whatever. It's fine. So we get you. Okay, so now I have our ID. Which pet name we need to, okay, so now we need to get what the new pet name is. So print line. So what is the new pet name for, I don't really know. Pet name. We'll just do that. Okay, so let new mute new name equals, this is going to be string new. Now we are getting two different, I'm doing this 3 times. So I might want to actually create this as a function. So we can just do function get user input. I could even do a message, which is a stir, and we're going to return a result. And this could be result. This can be an error result with a string inside. And so this will be let mute our input equals a string new. We're going to do our standard in read line, and then input. We'll do a context. So getting input from user, question mark u. I then want to return this with that. So we're going to just do okay input dot trim to owned. Okay. Why did I do that? Hold on. Are you okay? You are okay. So now I can replace all of these, make this a little bit easier. So which pet would you like to get? We print that out. Okay, so I can now skip you and just say let ID equals get user input. And the message is which pet ID, or enter the pet ID. How about that? So enter the pet ID you would like to change the name of. Okay, so that gives us that. Oh, and I need to handle the error. So expect error getting pet ID as a string. We trim you. Okay, so then we convert this into a number. Okay, great. I don't need, in fact, I can continue to do this all in one line here by taking it there and dropping. So get user input, we parse it, and then we have to match you here. Okay, there we go. So we have ID must be a number. Excellent. Let's see. Lisa, you almost forgot to introduce yourself. You're Lisa, a digital creator based in the US. You've been creating animations and overlays for streamers. Nice. Excellent. Well, that sounds really fun. Do you also stream yourself? I know that there's several, I know that there's some of the content creators who like they create that kind of content as content for other streamers and then sell that as commissions for streamers, which like that's a great business model. I think that's really awesome. Okay, so we have you, then we have what is the new pet name? So let new name equals get user input. What is the new name? Expect error getting new pet name. Okay, so now we have this. We have everything that we need, right? We have the ID and the new pet name. So we're going to call update pet name, pass it the DB, pass it a reference to the new name, pass it the ID, and expect error updating pet name, and then print line pet with ID now has name, new name. Okay, so oh, database URL. Oh, what was I thinking there? This is database URL. Okay, that was weird of me. Oh, you no longer need to be mutable because we're doing that somewhere else. Excellent. I forgot a semicolon there. We forgot to print line this. That's kind of important. So message. Also semicolon, kind of important, and no more errors. So we can now do a cargo run bin update pet name. Okay, which pet name would you like to change? So let's capitalize bracket's name. So if I want to change back, we do bracket like that. Pet ID 3 now has name bracket. So I can also just do cargo run bin show pets, and we'll see now bracket has a capitalized name. Perfect. Okay, so we have that. That's good. And then we just want to do update species name as a very similar thing. Now, this is like so similar that I am going to cheat and copy and just sort of duplicate this. So let's copy update pet name to update species name. Before we have to do some queries, let's go ahead and add in a pub function, update species name. We'll take in the DB, we'll take in the new name, and we'll take in the ID. We'll return a result with nothing. That's going to be fine. We're going to just do a diesel update. It's the table, right? So this is going to be species table filter species DSL ID equal to ID. We're going to set the species DSL name to be equal to what? Is this just new name? Name equal to name. Execute DB context. Context is going to be updating species name. And return okay like that. You should be happy. You are. Okay, so let's now go into the bin, update species name, and let's do this. So we're going to have some warnings in here after we get rid of some stuff, but that's going to be fine. So, okay, we have database URL, our database connection, which species name would you like to change? So for pet, so for species in get all species, error getting all species. Print line, okay, so we use species ID, species name, we got that. Let ID equals get user input, enter the species ID you would like to change the name of, error getting species ID as a string, error the ID must be a number, new name, what is the new name, error getting new species name. Okay, so now this becomes update species name, db new name ID, error updating species name, print line, species with ID. ID now has name, new name. Okay, so I think we're good to go there. We have, okay, just re-import those. That it'll be fine. Can I find you? Import you. Okay, no warnings, no errors. Now we can do a cargo run bin update species name. Which species name would you like to change? We have cat, squirrel, dog, raccoon, red-tailed hawk, Oregon junco, and llama. So let's capitalize cat. So we'll say one cat, and then we could just do cargo run bin show species. And now there's a cat at the bottom with a capital C. Perfect. Okay. And I think that's going to be it. So get status, add everything. And what we've got here. So we have, updating. So update lesson, essentially. Go ahead and push you. And, oh, we need to read through you. So let's do a quick reading and see how we like this. Updating a row with Diesel. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to update a single field in a row in the database. Let's add the ability to mark pets as being fed in the database. This will require us to add an update for pets, but only for one of the fields. We don't want to force users to give us the same name for the pet again when feeding them, as that might lead to accidental name changes. Let's start by creating the query in the pets queries file. Okay, so we have our code. As normal, we'll need to take in the database connection, but we'll also need to know which pet is being updated, and in this case, when they were last fed. We're returning, well, nothing, since we don't really care about the default return value from the database, which is the number of rows mutated. And since the called already, wait, what? What was I thinking here? And since the called already, so since the caller already knows all the information, so all the relevant information, it's okay just to return nothing and use that as a way to show that everything worked as expected. This is a design choice. You would want to consider what your library and users need when choosing what to return. Next, we need to add in the update query. We'll use the query builder from Diesel. This might feel a bit odd if you're coming from ORMs and other languages, as we're not starting from the model, but rather Diesel itself. The update function takes in a filter, which itself takes in what we're filtering by. In this case, the ID of the pet. If you wanted to update all rows in the database, you would not call filter, but instead just pass in the table. Obviously, you want to be careful when writing these mutation queries, as it is very easy to accidentally update more than you want if you forget the filter method. In a real project, it's extremely recommended, so let's just say it's recommended. It's recommended to test your mutations on a local test database before, so I don't need local test database. So test your mutations on a local database before deploying to production and letting it run against your production database. Who thought, right? We call the execute method when we don't have anything specific from the database we want to get back. By default, execute returns the number of rows affected. In this case, we're ignoring that value and letting it drop. Finally, we need to handle the potential error. Now we can write our bin function to mark a pet as fed. So touch source bin, okay, we do that. Set up the boilerplate for the function where we connect the database. Next, we need to get the ID of the pet that we're feeding. Our user may not have memorized the IDs for all the pets, so let's show them a list of pets and their IDs. Then we need to get the pet ID from standard in and turn it into a number. It's time to create a time. Since we're using naive date time, we need to get there through UTC now and call the naive UTC method on it to convert it into the type we want. We now have everything that we need to call the update pet last fed. Is it last feed or fed? I named this last feed. Yeah. Hold on. Let's fix this really quickly. Search update pet last feed, 2 selections there. And then I do want to do pet queries update you to fed, and that just updates them all else so that we're good to go now. Okay, so where were we? Okay, we now have everything that we need to call the update pet last fed function and let the user know that their pet has been fed. Okay, so we do that. Great, now we can run this and update the last fed field for a pet of our choice. Before continuing on, practice updating by creating queries and bin functions for updating the names of pets and species, which then we've done too. So perfect. Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and also, because we have to commit you, so change or like spell correction for update pet last fed function. Get push you, and then over here, commit get add, and then lesson for diesel update. Okay, and that gets pushed up too. Excellent. And I think that's all the time I have for today. We have no more streams scheduled for this week because it's a combination of holiday and I have to spend a little bit more time earlier in the week working on my contract job. So that's that. Next week is, I'm not exactly sure what the schedule is going to be because I have at least one meetup that I'm going to be attending. I have the AI meetup that I'm speaking at. And that's going to be on Thursday. It's in Denver. So if any of you are in Denver next Thursday and want to stop by and see me talk, that'd be awesome. I have, I think I posted information to that on my Discord, but I'll probably post that again next week, shortly before we go to that. And so I think that's everything. And then, Lisa, if you want to reach out on Discord and chat about stuff, I'd be happy to listen, see what your I guess like it's a pitch thing, right? For potential working with you. That's my guess. Either way, love to have you as part of the community. So with that, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. If you're in the United States, happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you all next time. Bye.